So in today's video, we're going to paint some apples in a stroke-based watercolor style. This means that we're going to let the brush do a lot of the work for us, so it's a really efficient and satisfying way to paint. This time I'm using the Backrun paper texture to get the watercolor effect, and for the brushes, I'm just using the ones in the regular watercolor kit. And to start painting, I'm going to grab the abstract round brush and this red color here, and maybe around 30 or 40% size, I'm going to use it to fill out this first apple here, trying to follow the lines of the sketch here as closely as possible. And after that, I'm going to grab the eraser brush. I'm going to set it to the fine liner pen, and I'm going to try to smooth this out a little bit, and also kind of cut out these areas where the leaves overlap. Next, I'm going to switch brushes, and I'm going to use the hard edge brush up here, and maybe around 50 or 60% size here. I'm going to use it to do both of these remaining apple slices. Next, I'm going to switch back to the abstract round brush. Now, I'm going to use the brush at maybe around 20 or 30% again. And the way it works is if I press lightly, it's quite dark. But as I press harder and harder, it sort of kind of bleeds out the color and we get a lighter tone. So what I'm going to do is start at the corner and press harder and harder until I'm kind of maxing it out. And then I'll cover that area. And that's just an efficient way to fill that in, but keep the contrast. And I'm going to do the same thing on this slice as well. And where I've gone over the edge here, I can go back to the eraser and just clean that up manually. Next, I'm going to fill in the color for these slices, but that needs to be on its own layer, so I'm going to make a new layer. And for the color, I'm going to use this first yellow tone, same abstract round brush that we've been using, and I'm just going to do a loose blob kind of in the center area. After that, I'm going to switch to the water blender brush at the bottom, and I'm going to blend both of these out quite a bit. Now, this slice is pretty well contained, but this one does go beyond the edge, so I'm going to use the eraser again to clean this up. Next, I'm going to fill out these heart-shaped details in the slice. And for that, I need to grab the second yellow tone. And I'm going to switch my brush back to the abstract round. But I'm going to use it at a lot smaller of a size, maybe like 12%. And I'm going to start with very, very light pressure. As I go around, I'll press harder, and then circle back. And I'll do the same thing on the other slice. And we'll add the black seeds later. For now, you can just select a slightly darker yellow tone and kind of fill out a shadow where the seeds will go. Now this is really starting to come together, but you'll kind of be tempted to add some shadows. Usually, I just try to get all the colors down first and handle the shadows later on. So for now, I'm just going to move on and start painting the leaves. And those will be on their own layer, so I'll make another new layer above everything. And I'm going to start with this first green tone. Same abstract round, but maybe around 20% size. And I'm going to do stroke-based leaves, and I'm just going to do half the leaf at a time. So I'm going to start at the tip of each leaf, press harder and harder as I go down, and then lighten the pressure to just kind of naturally taper it. And I'm going to go through and do half of each leaf just like this. After that, I'm going to select the second green tone and do the same thing on the other half of each leaf. Now you can see my leaves aren't perfect and they overlap in a few areas. I'll fix that in a minute. For now, I'm going to add this stem to each leaf. So for that, I'm going to grab this brown color and I'm going to switch to the fine liner pen, and I'm going to do a little line just at the base of these two leaves. And I like it when there's a little bit of blending in these leaves. So I'm going to grab the water blender, and at a really small size, I'm going to go in there and just mix up this area where everything comes together. And then I'm going to go back in there with the eraser brush and fix this. And I'll go ahead and do the same thing on the other leaf here. And then I'm going to use the eraser brush to clean up all the leaves. And while I've got this brown selected, I'm going to use the fine liner pen again to do the stem here. And then also I'm going to choose a pretty dark reddish color. It's almost black, but maybe like a reddish black. And I'm going to use that and the fine liner pen to do these seeds. And once everything has been colored in, we can move on and do the shading. So for that, I don't need the sketch, so I'm going to turn it off for now. And then everything so far is on these 3 layers. I'm going to pinch them and merge them into one. And I do all the shadows with the selection tool. So for example, over here, I'm going to use the selection tool, set to freehand. And I'm just going to select the area where I want there to be a shadow. Then I can use the hue, saturation, and brightness to just slightly darken that area. And I'm going to go through the whole illustration just like that and add shadows wherever I think it needs it. Now because the apple is curved, you could definitely add all kinds of shadows to make it look super realistic. With watercolor though, I don't think that's necessary, and all this apple really needs is a highlight in this area. So for that, I'm going to use the selection tool again and make some kind of shape. There we go. And instead of going to the hue, saturation, and brightness, I'm going to go to the curves. And to brighten it, all I have to do is just move this bottom blue node up. There we go. And once the shadows and highlights are all done, I'm going to switch to the water blender brush, and I'm going to use it at a variety of sizes to kind of soften some of these hard edges, as well as blending some of these colors together. So in the case where the green leaf touches the red apple, I think it looks nice to go in there and kind of blend it just a little bit. If you don't like this effect, you don't have to do this, but I think it has a cool look. And I'm just going to go through the whole illustration and blend it wherever I think it needs it. And at this point it could be done, but I want to add a little more texture. So I'm going to make another new layer above everything, but I'm going to set it to color burn. And I'm going to use the drips and splatter brushes. I think this one here, number 24, and some kind of a bright red color. And I'm going to add some splatters to this. And the effect is a little bit too strong right away, so I'm going to lower the transparency. And just like that, this apple illustration is all done. And here's a look at the final result. And that pretty much wraps it up. Please give this video a like if you think I've earned it. And if you're looking for another kind of stroke-based painting tutorial that's a little more challenging, go ahead and check out this video up here where I paint a simple scene with a bird in just a few brush strokes.